I think every real horror fan has had at least one experience of feeling out of place when compared with quote-unquote mainstream society, but I don't think there's ever been a really good attempt to understand why it is that people like horror. Like, most horror fans are generally normal people who have pretty good reasons for enjoying horror, but what are those reasons? The real reasons, not the ones that they learn to tell people to make them leave them alone. That's what our podcast is about, interviewing people in the horror business to find out what it is that they love about horror. My name's Steve. I'm a bit of a psychology buff, and my co-host is my friend Chris, who's a horror buff. And so far, we've interviewed about 30 people, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We're going to continue interviewing more people, but wanted to share some of the highlights with you. In this set of excerpts, we're going to talk to producer, author, and director Stephen Biro, visual effects artist Eric Savino, and director and cinematographer Chris Woods. If you like anything you hear, you can check us out on Apple, Google, Spotify, or the player on our website. And without further ado, Mr. Biro.
You know, I mean, I had a fledgling bootleg company. I shouldn't.
It's funny now that you're bitching about people.
Well, yeah, no, I'm bitching. Well, because it's 20 years later, man.
Just with you.
No. It's 100% true. Back then, with like shoddy VHS bootlegs, the shit looked bad. You'd get a 5th generation bootleg, but you were thrilled to see it. But it didn't stop you from buying the new DVD that came out.
Yeah,
and that's when.
And everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. I was bootlegging the shit, and I got hit up by the fucking guys who were handling the guinea pig series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, awesome. Sell me the rights to the fucking movies. And they offered, it was like a stupid, ridiculous amount. It was like $80,000. And I'm like, no, I got to start a company. I got to do the authoring and this and that and this and that. And you. But, you know, let's do it. We'll start the company 50-50. And he's like, no, I can't do that. And he hangs up on me. But then 30 days later, hey, how about this? And he offered it to me for $10,000.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
That's a big drop, yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, you know, well, I got to start a website and do the authoring, blah, 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 all these costs. I got to, you know, how about we just do it 50-50? And he's like, no, and he hangs up.
Next week, 5,000.
Yeah, but 30 days later, he calls me back. He's like, okay, so we're going to start a company? I'm like, yeah, here, I'll figure out a name for it. And yeah, let's do this. And that's how Unearthed Films was born.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's good. I'm expecting to be a used car salesman when the horror thing dies.
Right.
There you go. Something,
or at least the collectors die.
That'll never happen.
I was going to say, I have a feeling horror is always going to be around. That's a human thing.
Oh, no. Yeah. Horror will always be there. But for us specialty labels.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's why you're seeing like Scream Factory. Oh, hey, buy it from us and you get a poster and you get this like fake dildo and you get this thing too, you know.
There's no such thing as a fake dildo.
Well, you know.
Anything is a dildo if you try hard enough.
But, you know, and the thing is, we're about ready to start doing that ourselves. You know, hey, buy this limited edition, you'll get the fucking replica butcher knife.
Have you met Chris?
I could do Totally Insane. I can do that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I can make
Send
that
me
happen.
your resume. Your mad scientist resume, you know. Studied at Transylvanian College for 3 to 4 years.
Oh, no. We're going full on crazy here. My resume will just be a picture of a G.I. Joe sticking halfway out of my asshole. I mean, that's all you need.
I was figuring a severed head.
That'd be cool. I mean, my sister is my sex robot. You're hired.
That almost ended up in a coffee spit take all over my fucking laptop just now. Christ.
Yeah. Your grandparents showing a, what's the word, modus operandi?
What is that? That's a new word.
I think it's Italian.
Operandi?
That's new to me.
I think it might be. Well, it's their MO, as you might refer to it in the crime.
Yeah, that's what it stands
detective stuff.
Oh,
that's
so
what MO stands for.
Oh shit! I learned something new today.
The more you know.
No, their pattern of telling you that you're going to go visit somewhere and then dropping you off and running.
That's true. Yeah, that's the second time. You know that never even occurred to me that there was a pattern.
What?
I don't think about it that much. I'm just like, that was my past. I deal with it and I move the on. But yeah, holy shit. What a connection. You're a good therapist.
You see things that happen twice. Actually, it makes me wonder if they've done it other times.
They might have. Who the knows, man? I mean,
are you real life Charlie Kelly?
Who the is Charlie Kelly?
Always Sunny.
Oh,
that happened in the show. He was.
I do remember that. Holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. I'm great with faces, bad with names. So, but yeah, I think I watched that episode. That's pretty up.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't have a propensity to bash rats with baseball bats with spikes on.
Oh no! Don't say that. Because I've totally done that in my house.
Oh no!
I had to, because I was getting tired of the snap traps because they scare me because they snap on you sometimes and they make a mess. So I was like, well, let me
like smash you.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, no. I had to. I had no choice. But I'm
saying it doesn't make a mess.
No. No, it makes much worse of a mess. I had to though because I switched.
See, when you swing the bat, you see it coming. But rat trap goes off in the middle of the night. You're like, I just got woke up and now I got to clean up some blood and guts. I mean,
yeah. Well, no. Here's the deal. I switched from snap traps to sticky traps just to try it out. It's like I knew there was a downside to them. I'm like, how bad could it be? Well, the rat goes into the trap. He didn't get completely stuck. Yeah. His ass is stuck to it, and his legs are there. And I'm hearing in the middle of the night, flap, flap. Flap, flap. And I'm like, oh, God damn it, he's still alive. And I'm like thinking it'll be easy. I'll just drown him like I did the first one because I didn't know how to kill him properly. And I don't take joy out of this. I hate killing animals. It's just there's so many rats in my area and they keep coming into this house. I have no choice. I've eaten fucking rat piss in my cereal before because I didn't notice that they chewed through the fucking bag. Yeah. And I'm like telling Jen, my girlfriend, I'm like, man, this fucking cereal tastes like shit. Is it stale? And she's like, and we're all eating it, not even knowing. Yeah. And then later on, we ate the whole fucking thing. Like, it's just stale cereal. And she goes in, one day she's cleaning and she looks at the bag and is like, motherfuckers chewed through the fucking bag. I was like, so, they deserve a bat to the skull. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, justified.
It's been good talking to you. Thanks for being our guest.
I am really a peaceful. I love life. I love living things, but sometimes, you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, I'm sorry for any animal lovers out there. It was a horrible experience. I will never do it again, and I haven't to this day. I still have to kill them, but I won't use a sticky trap. I learned the hard way. And I like to freak people out. I was telling this story earlier, but I don't think I finished it. But when I used to go to church, I used to fake having an asthma attack in front of everybody in the congregation, like outside the church or whatever, and act like I'm dying and be like, oh, I can't breathe, and collapse on the ground and convulse and shit as a little kid. And everybody would get around and watch me and be like, oh my God, what do we do? And as soon as I got enough people, I'd get up and just start laughing because I liked their reaction. It was just funny to me to see how shocked they were. I mean,
Can I just say for a moment?
I was an asshole kid. Yes, what?
And now you have COPD.
Oh, yeah. I do. I do have COPD because I smoked weed and a ton of cigarettes.
I'm just making the tie between you having this fake asthma.
Little bit of irony there.
Therapist. He's right. Yeah. Is that a little karma for you? Maybe. Just maybe.
Shots
fired. Damn. That's a kick in the nuts. I never thought of it that way. Because I'm an atheist. I don't think in those terms, but it's like, maybe it's the secret. You put out negative vibes, they come back. If you put out positive vibes, you get positive.
I'm not saying they're connected. I'm just saying it's amusing.
Oh, it's very ironic indeed. Damn. Yeah, I was more like engaging in horror than just taking it in because I took it in for 2 decades basically.
Would you say in adulthood it was more like
don't dream it, be it. Is that a reference? Yes, it is. That was Rocky Horror, folks. For those who don't know.
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, which influenced partially my drag persona that I carried off in the early 2000s, I would think. But it was more like, let's be the horror.
Yeah.
I would drag my body for 8 hours, covered in KY jelly and blood, half naked, scaring people.
And that was before I got into horror.
Right.
Just kind of got several projects in the mix. That's pretty much it. I mean, I got a couple other things, but I can get into that as we, talk during this interview.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, for a moment there, you're the first person I've ever heard talk about an OnlyFans that wasn't personal sexual related, but then you kind of went there anyway. So
yeah.
Now I see why you were going there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And I'd like to clarify, while you're talking about that, I decided to check out Sleazebox. It's thesleazebox.com.
Yes, it's thesleazebox.com. Yeah.
Apparently, sleazebox.com is a record company.
A record, yeah.
Not what I was going to think it was.
I know, right? Like, I'm just randomly typing sleazebox.com in my browser, like, oh, this should be good. What if I got it wrong?
Whitehouse.gov.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Child's Play was the first rated R movie I saw without an adult. And I was only 15. I was with my friend Craig, who was only 14. So it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to let us in? And they did. There was one theater that didn't give a shit. There was other theaters that did. And the way to get around that is you ask for a PG-13 movie, and then you just go into, because there's no one at the door, the door to the actual theater part. That's only in the main door. So you say you want to go see, I don't know, Look Who's Talking or something, and then we go see Friday the 13th, part 7.
Security was a bit lax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say at very most, those guys just care if you have like a ticket for the right movie when you get in the door. After that, they're like, I don't fucking care. Did you stab somebody in the hallway? I make $5 an hour.
You paid, we're good.
Wait. I got a food analogy for this. Sci-fi action is to cheeseburger as horror is to casserole.
Okay, sure. There you go.
I don't know if that's a good analogy. Depends on whether or not you like casserole. What kind of casserole are we talking?
Maybe a turkey dinner or Thanksgiving.
Although actually, I guess it might be a fair analogy because that's part of the problem. Not really knowing what kind of casserole you're about to dig into. It could be awesome or it could be shit.
There's a lot of horror films that was the case.
Green bean and possum. Is there another kind of casserole?
I'm never a fan of green bean casserole.
And possum.
And possum? Well, you did grow up in Pasco.
Yeah.
John Carpenter said it, where comedy you can't translate to another country sometimes.
It's cultural.
Because, American comedy is different from comedy in Europe, and so, but you don't have to translate fear.
Right.
Yeah. Also, with horror versus sci-fi, it's easier to make blood spurting out of somebody's neck than it is a model starship.
Well, It's hard to do well.
I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to do because there are some
Red Dwarf
gems out there. Hey, you do not besmirch the name of Red Dwarf, sir.
I wasn't besmirching. I was saying that that's an example of one that, well, but I think that's more because it's the comedy that saves it. But, you can tell that it's low budget in terms of the sci-fi part of it.
You mean, is that a lampshade on the back of the shuttle in the intro to the show?
I have no idea. I'm just thinking of like the scene. I remember the scenes of like Holly, the hologram. So yeah, come check us out over at horrormakeshappy.com or check out some of our other excerpts until you find someone whose interview you do want to hear.